Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Monday, December 16th, 2019. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. We continue to see nice strength out of the ES here overall after the pullback to begin the month right here into the pivot range and the midpoint of the previous month's range. We saw a nice continuation higher, which is exactly what we talked about to begin the month. This pullback here looks very similar to how we began October, and it led to a nice continuation the rest of the month and into November. This was looking like the same opportunity, and we're here. So it appears like this thing will continue to stretch until or unless price fails to hold above a key zone. So right now, for example, keep an eye on the previous month's high here. That zone is going to be very important. We can come back to it and hold, but if we fail to hold that zone, that's when we likely come back and retest the previous low, maybe this LVN, and bounce back. So right now everything's continuing higher unless that point fails, and that's around 3150-ish. So if there's a failure to hold the previous month's high, which is really 3155, that would open up a pullback. But right now all signs suggest more upside. And if we take a look here at the NQ, very similar price action as well. This thing pulling back at the beginning of the month and seeing a buy opportunity lead to new highs. We are well through the previous month's high. Again, even a pullback as deep as that, call it 83.50 or so, sorry, 84.50, that could provide a continuation higher. So as long as price remains above 84.50 right now, this thing has more upside ahead, likely into the end of the year here. So we'll see how that develops. But again, all signs pointing up until proven otherwise. Here's a look at crude oil. This one has compressed tremendously here over a prior 5-day stretch here. We started to get an initial breakout the previous session, but instead kind of pulled back, and instead of rejecting, we kind of held, and right now we're up through it. So this appears like it is a full-on breakout attempt. We talked about before the potential to get about 4.5 points of range, and so we are looking for, say, a stretch from 58 to about 62. So we still have more range here to go. So if you kind of use that low at 58 and project higher 4.5 points, that puts you to about 62 to 62.5, and that puts you again right to about where the primary target is for the month, or the 100% target. 75 would be here. So we're looking for somewhere in here. Right now everything looks like it's all steam ahead to the upside. Again, a failure to hold, say, 49.50 or so, that could open up quite a pullback, at least in the near term. Alright, let's take a look lastly at gold futures here. We have nothing on the economic calendar for today. Tomorrow we have non-farm productivity and API weekly crude oil stock. We have other things coming on later on this week, but nothing today. In terms of crude oil here, we do have a compression that has played out for quite a while here. You can kind of see it right here, where over the last 4 weeks or so we've kind of compressed at this lower edge. This is also in the midst of a downtrending channel, and I mentioned before, it appeared like we were about to see a breakout, but again, we had headline risk with a Trump tweet that kind of turned things around for gold and led the market higher. And so right now we're trying to see, is this thing going to break down another leg, or finally are we going to break through and change the directional conviction of this trend here? So 1495, 1500 would be the spot here where this thing were to break out and go. Failure to do so, again, got to watch this other side over here, because if we break down like we did before, it could be a quick drop to new lows here. So right now, still in the range, still watching for directional conviction. Alright, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.